We now move on to a very, very interesting session. This one is financial wellness. And we're going to have a panel discussion. So we're really looking forward to this. I'd like to introduce our panelists one by one as they take the stage. So let's make them feel welcome with a big round of applause. Starting off with Nimisha J Vadakkan, Managing Director at Aceware Fintech Services. She leads Team Ace Money with a strong commitment to inclusive digital banking. She is dedicated to making digital financial solutions accessible and affordable, especially in underserved rural areas through innovative fintech solutions. Let's hear it for Nimisha Vadakkan as she takes the stage. Welcome. Our next panelist is Moinak Banerjee, the co-founder at Solinas Integrity, a startup that creates robotic solutions for pipeline diagnostics and septic tank cleaning to reduce water losses and to eliminate manual scavenging. He has been involved in several projects from European Space Agency, Scania AB, and a few startups where he developed various innovative design solutions and filed patents. He has also worked as a design engineer in Scania R&D, Stockholm. Let's hear it from Moinak Banerjee. Our next panelist is Suryanarayanan Paneerselvam, the co-founder at SkillLink. SkillLink is an online higher education platform for engineering students. The platform focuses on helping students upskill themselves and build a strong technical foundation in engineering. Let's hear it for Suryanarayanan Paneerselvam. And what would a panel be without its moderator? So I would like to welcome Priya Goutham, a dynamic leader with a 22-year career spanning marketing, management, and strategy. Currently the Strategic Consultant Director at Virginia Tech India and an alumni of IIM Bangalore. She is the convener of the Radiant Wellness Conclave. Priya is a key figure in the National Startup Cell, notably leading the Chennai chapter and driving strategic partnerships for Flow startup initiatives. Let's hear it for our moderator for this session, Priya Goutham. Priya, over to you.
We're just 15 minutes away from noon, and I think it's an interesting session so far, and I'm sure this is going to be very, very interesting for all of us. May I see everyone be awake? Okay, all right, let's roll. So my topic today is financial wellness, and today we have the privilege of diving into dynamic world of startups, where every innovation meets perseverance and dreams are transformed to reality. Our panel brings together a diverse group of entrepreneurs, each with a unique story to share about their journey through the exciting challenges and ever-evolving landscape of entrepreneurship. So each of your business is solving a problem. I'm sure our audiences here would love to hear your journey. So may I start with the lady here, Nimisha. Could you share a specific moment or experience that inspired the inception of your tech startup and what triggered the idea?
Yes. So, good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here in front of you all today. Yes, I run a startup called Ace Money. We are based out of Cochin and mainly into fintech, doing financial services to the customers. So we started in 2020, which was actually during the peak pandemic time. And we started with a service called Doorstep Banking Service, where we brought all the banking services to the doorstep of the customers. And the starting of Ace Money was actually from a personal experience where myself, had an requirement of physical cash when I was in my home with my kid, and I was unable to go out to an ATM to withdraw the cash. Even though we live in a digital world, sometimes cash do play a role. So that was when we thought, why don't we take this service to the doorstep of the customers? There will be people who are not able to go out to do their banking services, even though it is almost online, but there are people still walking to the branches to do the services. And we developed an application in Ace Money, and anybody who are in need of any banking service, including ATM withdrawals or money transfers or whatever services the bank offers you. You can just click on the app, request for the service, and the executive will be at your doorstep with the service. So that is what we offer.
Fabulous. So should I say this is a COVID invention or a COVID innovation?
Yes, it is a COVID invention where we actually saw an opportunity there.
Fantastic. Thank you, Nimisha. I think a lot of startups have sort of got an idea when they were sitting in during the pandemic. And I have another startup such as this, but I also wanted to take a moment to sort of say, Moinak Banerjee from Solinas, he actually, when I was talking to him, he said that he was a kid in Durgapur when he was growing up, and we were all talking about environment and the wellness and different things that we've all gone through. He as a child always had this bothering nuances of why water is not clean, which is a basic amenity. And that kept on bothering, and he couldn't do much as a kid. So he grew up, and then he went to study in Sweden, and then this idea came. So Moinak, I would like you to talk about Solinas, an idea to an ideation to a product today.
So good morning everyone. So as ma'am said that, so the problem of water supply or the problem of getting contaminated water is something very common in India, right? Though it had been 75 years, we have been become independent. We are on the path of becoming a developed nation in next 30 years and everything. But when I was a child, like I had that problem of interrupted water supply, maybe for 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. And I think it's very common. A lot of people can connect with this. And when I thought about that when I was in school days, I never had the idea how to solve it. But again, fast forwarding, I did my higher studies abroad, and I met one of my co-founders through my mutual friend who was also into bringing robotics specifically for solving social problems. And when we just talked and we just hang together, we realized that we both have the urge to develop technologies for solving social problems. I have the urge to develop technologies specifically solve the problem of water supply, and he had the idea of how we can use technology to solve the problem of cleaning of septic tanks, right? Manual scavenging, the problem of manual scavenging, which is very big. And then we started off, I came back, we started building this company 3 years back, and we realized that the only way we can solve both these problems, which is very connected, right? Water, pipelines, sewer lines, septic tanks, these are very connected system, the connected infrastructure of water and sanitation. We realized that the main problem why this sector is aching and the problems are very prevalent even after this many years was the intervention of technology is very minimal, right? It is the way it is solved, like for example, if there is a leak in the pipeline, there will be, or any cross contamination in the pipeline, there will be some wastewater getting into a drinking water pipelines. There is the way it is solved generally, it's like people will do multiple pits. You will see in roads, in cities, they will just try to find out where the leak is. They will do random digs and try to find out that. And when we tried to understand that, we realized that maybe robotics is the right one, robotics and AI, which is something coming up in this world, right? And most of the sectors like automobile and others, those have seen this high-end technologies getting into those sectors. But in this sector, as because it's not that much posh, you do not have that much of intervention in that. So with that vision, we started building our technologies. And it has been 3 years. We have developed our solution, our robots and the software solution deployed in multiple cities. And in the last 3 years, we have been active in 12 Indian cities. And what we realized is in the last 3 years, for each and every kilometer of inspection we are doing, we have been saving around 600,000 liters of water, which generally get lost, right? So yeah, and we are at the vision right now in 12 cities. We want to take this technology to 100 Indian cities in next 3 to 5 years. So that's the journey is continuing, and I am hoping that we will be able to achieve that. Yeah.
Fabulous. And I'm going to ask you more as we progress on your products. So I have this neighbor, a friend, and a startup entrepreneur next to me. When I met him first time, he said, he came back from the US, and my father asked me, why did you even come back? He said, no, I want to do something. So he said, what is your earning going to be? He said, 5 lakhs. So his father asked him, is it 5 lakhs a month? He said, no, it's 5 lakhs an annum. So that's how his startup began this journey to disrupt education that we've always had in the country and do something more. So over to Surya.
Thanks, Priya. Priya is a close neighbor. As a lot of Indian youth, right? Like I graduated doing my mechanical engineering in 2012, and what I realized was we learnt engineering in the theoretical sense, but did not have the opportunity to apply and build stuff. So when I went to the US to do my master's, I realized that they used a lot of computational tools to kind of practically apply theory in order to solve real world problems. And went on to work at a company called Cummins, engine manufacturer, did the same there. And we realized that there's an opportunity to teach Indian engineers how to solve real world problems using computational tools. And a lot of Indian education companies solve for computer sciences. They teach how to perform data science, data analytics, and similarly build websites, right? Full stack web development. But as India progresses with a lot of Make in India and a lot of manufacturing happening in India, we feel that a lot of mechanical, electrical, and civil engineers with the infrastructure boom needs to be there and upskilled. And that's a core idea with which we kind of moved back to India. And over the last 7-8 years, it's been a tremendous journey to kind of, we right now upskill roughly 30,000 students. Tata hires almost 500 students from us every year. Mahindra hires another 200 students from us every year. So almost 3,000 students on a yearly basis get placed. We kind of charge the electrification boom happening from the IC engine to electrification boom happening. So we feel that India, especially with the demographic dividend that we have, our ability to upskill them with the right skill sets will kind of be extremely important. So yeah, it's been a great journey.
Good for that. So SkillLink as a company has been a part of Y Combinator, and most of us know it's so difficult to get into that for their initial round of funding. So Surya, the question is, how has the experience with Y Combinator impacted SkillLink's growth and strategy, particularly in the context of expanding beyond India? And recently the Iron Pillar Fund, which is, I think, made news everywhere. So it'll be great to hear your story on that.
I think Priya kind of gave the quick gist, right? Like, just to kind of give some context, I grew up in Chennai, but my mother tongue is Telugu, so my ancestry is from Andhra Pradesh. So for people out there, especially my mother, I'm the first generation undergrad engineer. Her dream was to make me an engineer. I became an engineer. Something that she did not expect was me going to the US, and after going to the US, getting a job. So she thought my life was settled, and when I said I'm coming back to India, she was like, that's when this discussion happened. Hey, you're earning almost $100,000 in a year. What are you going to get? I said 5 lakhs. So my father asked, is that for a month? I said, no, I think it's for a year. He had a stare at me, and I realized that's not the right stare. But and that's what year one was, right? But coming back to the question of Y Combinator, right? We had this idea of upskilling engineers from 2013 because it was a personal problem for us. But Y Combinator, we kind of came to know when we were in the US, roughly in 2012. YC has two application batches, so you can apply for Y Combinator twice a year. We applied for almost 8 years and got rejected, so almost 16 times and got rejected every time. But it was the 17th time when we got admitted, right? YC kind of showed us what perseverance matters, and once we got into YC, the next day we got a call from Sequoia or Lightspeed, like every venture capital firm opened for us. YC was the door to kind of say, hey, okay, it's like a Stanford or a Harvard stamp on a founder, right? So YC kind of opened that up, but more importantly, more than opening the network, we realized how important perseverance is, and for me, the life lesson out there was not only in a startup, but even with life, right? If you want to kind of do something, it's okay to kind of take its time, but do it right and persevere in order to kind of get the right things done.
Absolutely. Everything that you do should be profitable, should do right, and if you fail, course correct it. So it's so important to do that. So my next question is for Nimisha. Nimisha, I know you introduced a wearable payment device, and there was a lot of talk about wearable devices for everything. So why not have a wearable device for even withdrawing money? So that was a great idea, I thought. And so I'd like Nimisha to talk about Theora, your brand, and how wearable accessories have impacted the payment landscape.
Yes, so we have seen wearables playing a role in health sector. Wearing a ring or a wristwatch which can actually count your blood pressure and all. So we thought of a solution. We actually introduced Theora, the brand, as a luxury brand which can be a convenient way of payment for us. So, for example, sometimes when we are going to a temple or we are going for an exercise, it is not necessary that we should always carry our wallet or maybe even phone. If we are going to temple, we may not carry the phone, but we really don't know when a payment requirement comes, and that is why we are forced to carry those gadgets with us. So in such scenarios, we thought of a convenient way of making the payments, and that is how we introduced the wearable payment rings. Using the ring which you wear in your hand, in a single tap you can make the payment. And this is the ring which I am wearing.
That.
Yeah. So that is about the wearables. So ring, actually we launched it as a convenient method of payment, not to replace any of the current payment methods, but to add a convenience to the payment. Again, we have keychains, which is much more affordable, so that we could touch both the levels. Like rings will be for a premium level of community, and at the same time, those who want to make a fancy kind of payment thing, the keychains can be a best option for them, and it comes under a very compatible price, very much lower price, and that is how it was.
Fantastic. So good luck to Theora.
Thank you.
So my next question is to you, Moinak. Could you elaborate on how Endobot works and its specific application in identifying leaks, defects and corrosion in underground water pipelines, and what makes your solution unique and how does it contribute to environment? At the same time, I think it is also financial wellness, because your product is going to save a lot of money for organizations.
So yeah, as I said in the beginning, right, we are developing solutions for robotics and AI solutions. So robotics is one part of the solution that we develop for maintaining the pipes, specifically for water pipes. And Endobot is one of the product for that. And I will tell you why specifically this is very important for the Indian pipelines that we have. So to give you a context, so majority of the 80% of the Indian pipelines, the water pipelines that we have in India, are in the dia of 100 mm to 200 mm, right? Or below, even it starts from 90 mm to around 200 mm. So very small pipelines. And compared to the Western market, we generally, there we see the water pipelines dia starting from 300 to 400, right? And whenever there is a problem happening, what we have seen in the, if there is a technology coming up, it's mostly happening from the Western world, right? So if they have a problem, they will develop a technology and we will try to maybe see from there and build something. And as because our pipelines is very different, the technology that are applicable there for inspecting those pipelines are not suited for us. Our pipelines are comparatively smaller. And that is the reason when a utility or a municipal corporation had to bring these type of robots, it does not fit into the terrain that we have in. And Endobot try to solve that, right? So there are different types of Endobots are there. One of the major type of Endobot that we have developed is a micro robot, which is specifically for this small type of pipelines, this specifically Indian pipelines that we have, which is catering to this 100 mm to 200 mm dia. So what it does is, as it's a micro robot, it goes inside the pipelines and it gives you it's like a diagnostics, right? Just like one of the speakers was talking about the health diagnostics, right? So it's just the diagnostics of the pipelines. It goes inside the pipes, collect various data about the pipelines, like that can be dia, there is a leak or contamination points there. So there are so many parameters to collect through that robot. And these data are then analyzed in the cloud through our AI-based algorithms, and data like what is the health of the pipeline, what is the life of the pipeline, when should we replace it, because most of the pipelines in India are laid from the British times. In Chennai, there are a lot of pipelines which has been laid some 100 years before. And there is no way for the utility companies or the municipal corporation to understand which part of the pipeline they need to replace, which part of the pipeline they should retain. And as because this sector has a limited budget, right? So it's not possible that they can invest all this money for removing all the pipelines and replacing all the pipelines in Chennai. So they will have to target these resources in specific pipelines which are very bad. So that's not only in Chennai, in all other parts of India. So that specifically our robot does. And the major part where it helps in is also, as what happens is, if you're not using technology like Endobot or any other, that can be Endobot is one of the way of doing it. Maybe I expect other entrepreneurs to develop similar solutions specifically for Indian market, but the operational maintenance cost for this pipeline increases if you do not bring technology, right? So if you, for example, if you are not having any robot like of technology which can go inside the pipeline and help you pinpoint the position of leaks, what will happen is you will randomly dig to find out the position of a leak, you will randomly dig some 30 pits. Block the roads for some 2 weeks or 3 weeks. You'll spend a good amount of money behind it, and you may not land up with finding out the position of leaks. And the second part was, again, I was telling, like, for example, you have some 100 crore of your budget and you want to specifically replace a specific part of the pipelines, and if you do not have any data about the pipelines with these robots, what you will do is you will just randomly distribute the 100 crores in replacing those pipelines, and there may be a high possibility that you will replace the pipelines which are good, and there will be a lot of pipelines which will be bad, will not get those right dedication of the resources. So yeah, that is the way we are trying to intervening. Yeah.
Fabulous. So your idea was something very path-breaking, unique. You must have had a lot of challenges in convincing people to invest in your business. So was it that you went for friends and family round, or did you really go out to pitch to VCs to get your fund? So what exactly has been your funding journey?
So yeah, so as I said that we started 3 years before. Initially, when we started off developing this company, we had only had the idea that what we want to do. So and as because it's not, this sector does not come into specifically a very I would say posh or interesting for VCs to invest in the idea stage. So they generally try to avoid that at the beginning. So it's something like, if you're a tech company or you are specifically in SaaS or something like that, it becomes very interesting for the VCs to invest because they know the returns will be much more faster. So initially we raised money from family and friends who paid to get our to keep our company running for the initial stage. But after we had the prototype and we started deploying the technologies around the cities, we realized that there has been some interest from the investors and we have been we got like-minded investors to get into our company, and now we just raised our pre-series A. What we realized that yes, there are investors who are interested in investing in this type of technologies because this is something comes into climate tech, right? These are the technologies which will really solve the problems of Earth in next 10-20 years. And investors specifically with that mindset are really growing up in India and also already in the western part. So yeah, things looks very interesting now.
This is going to be the next unicorn?
Hopefully so. I am hoping for that because as Bill Gates tells, right, the next unicorns will not be a Facebook or Google, right? The next unicorn should come from a climate tech. Those things which need to be solved in next 10 to 20 years. So if we are really solving the problem and if we keep us innovating and bringing technologies, hopefully yes.
I think I gave away a tip to invest in this company, by the way. Yeah. So, Surya, reflecting on your journey, can you share an instance where your startup faced a significant challenge and how successfully you adapted to overcome that?
I think what I've realized is running a startup is challenges at every phase essentially is a challenge, right? So I think in the initial days, the challenge was what is the product that everybody wants. Now the challenge is how do we kind of scale this to a lot of engineers in a profitable way and make sure that India moves forward with having the right engineers, right? Like I think especially over the last 1 year, building so in the beginning we were a bootstrap company for the first 3 years. So profitability was the only way that we keep the company going. And as we kind of scale the company, one of the goals was what are the products that we need to enable students to learn faster, to learn the right way. And now it's about how do we do everything in a more profitable way in order to kind of sustain and build a education company that is not only for the next 5 years but for the next 20, 25 years, right? And how can we build a world-class institution from India where we get known for engineering, like how Germany is known for engineering, how can we build something from India? And that's the challenge that we are solving right now. So.
Great. Nimisha, as a female entrepreneur, they often serve as role models as aspiring women in the business. Could you share any mentorship or empowerment initiatives you've been involved in, or how have they helped you in your transformational business today?
Yes, when we speak about women entrepreneurship, definitely talks come that it will be much more difficult for us when compared to men, but I really don't believe in all those, to be very frank. We all live in a social system where we should actually mutually depend on each other, whether it is men or women, doesn't matter. And of course, the challenges in business doesn't come looking whether it is a man, okay, this is a man, I'll go to this is a woman, I'll go to this. It is not like that. It's the same for everyone, for both men and women. And the best way to overcome it is to make a good network. So networking means a lot and it helps you a lot in your journey. And I was fortunate enough to be a part of many networking groups. Both, actually, we basically come from Kerala. We have our office in Cochin. So in Kerala, we have an organization called Women Entrepreneur Network, where we have 3,000 plus women entrepreneurs from Kerala being a part of the network. So it is such a beautiful space to be, where women supporting women, because if we have any doubts in, maybe I come from a technical background, I'm not that strong with my accounts. So I have a person who know about the accounts there, whom I can go and ask for help. So I believe in this social system of living where we should mutually depend on each other. We should cry out for help if we need. And we should, at the same time, we should help others also by the way we can.
Fantastic, fantastic. So networking is very, very key, whether it's man, woman, business, non-business, so just to get to the next step. So the next category that I have is something called as soapbox questions. So interesting. They cannot slip out of it, just like that. So you can answer, any of you can answer, but so let me start off with the first question. When did you all start taking home a salary from your business?
Around a year after, very minimal, but first 12 months was like nothing, just pocket money what I had. But after 1 month, I think, after 1 year, we started taking a minimal salary. Yeah.
Super. What about you?
Yeah, maybe after 2 years.
2 years, okay.
I think, so I had a co-founder, so I quit my job in the US and came back to India. So he said, I'll work for 1 year, so I'll pay you 30K every year. That's my part of the contribution. So yeah, I was fortunate to get salary from him. So yeah.
So you're not a day one. I mean, you got it in the year, in a month. Thank you for that. So this, I'll ask a question. Profitability as a measure of sustainability. What is your take?
I'll go first. I think any business needs to provide two things. One is value for the customer and value for the business. And value for the business, the best measure is profitability, and that's like oxygen for the business. So yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Anything else that you guys want to add?
Yeah, I think he's right. So for a company to be sustainable and run over a longer period of time, it's very important that other than the burning cash that you get from the investors, you should think for the profitability and make yourself sustainable and over a period of time in the like within whatever fast you can do, which will make it last. Your company will last and it will grow. That's the
important thing is you have to make profits from day one. And that's the point that I want you all to take home today. And what does innovation mean to you, Nimisha?
try to be updated with the technology. If, okay, maybe I will be doing a conventional business, but if I am sticking on to that, it will not sustain more. Even though it is a textile industry or a manufacturing industry, always we should keep up with the technology, keep updated with the
So
technology.
keep the ear to the ground to see
Yes,
what
yes.
technology is doing.
Yes.
Wow, okay. Achieving work-life balance can be challenging for CEOs. How do you integrate work and personal life to maintain that balance effectively?
I think figure out the right partners who understand, like, at least for my case, I'm not generalizing, right? Like, I've been lucky to have a wife who understands what I do, and she's intelligent than me, so it helps because she solves a lot of my problems. I don't know if I do the same there, but yeah, I think spending enough time, especially with now that I'm having kids, so spending enough time with them and taking care essentially helps me to take my mind out of the daily routine as well. So.
Interesting. I'm sure you
Yeah.
have your story as well.
Yeah, so I think that for, again, to become really productive in the work, it's very specifically important that you give time to yourself and also to your partner, right? And also to your parents. For me, it's like I'm not married, so it's mostly partner and my parents. So that only not only keeps your mental peace and also helps you to be productive the next day. So yeah, always at least have a 1 hour or half an hour of talk every day. So that is something which I always try to.
Second point that I'm driving home, have a balanced work life. Important. So we all talk this word called jugaad, right? It's also in Wikipedia today. Jugaad is something India was doing, but right now it's moving from jugaad to innovation. And I think the test of testimony was G20 being hosted here, wherein everybody spoke about innovation, everybody spoke about AI. I think in this morning with all the audience here, everybody spoke something about technology, AI. So what unconventional strategies or campaigns have you all applied to reach a broader audience, to create a buzz around the startup? Because why I ask this question is, in a startup you need to be frugal in your thinking, but larger than life is your vision in terms of reaching to your customers. So did you think of anything which is a jugaad innovation in reaching out to more people?
So yeah, so for as our case, it's mostly we are into this B2G and B2B, right? Serving the government and serving these utility companies, L&T and Suez, and also we do a lot of social work, right? We develop robots for different these manual scavengers, right, who clean the tanks and everything. So what we do generally is, right, rather than hosting, like if we are trying to reach it to more people, what we realize that rather than hosting some big product launch type of event in big hotels or something like that, we try to do our launch by directly launching them, by getting them access these manual scavengers who will be using our products, by getting them involved in the product launch. They only come and do the launch rather than the end user doing the launch rather than we doing it. So which gives us a lot of traction, and also trying to get a first hand understanding about what's the feedback of the user and everything like that. So yeah.
Right. The next, we're really running short of time, but I will have a rapid fire questions, and every wrong answer, you need to give 1% of your share to the audience here. Are you all okay? Yes? Okay. So there are a lot of hands going up. So guys, what makes you financially well? Surya, for that.
What makes me financially well? A lot of things, right? Like a balanced life, and for me, essentially a balanced mind as well, which includes some sort of physical activity in a day, and kind of opens up my mind to do the right things during the day at work.
Super. Nimisha, if your wallet could talk, what financial advice would it give you?
If my wallet would
Talk. Your wearable devices are talking, so I'm asking if your wallet could talk.
please keep track of where it is coming and going.
Good one. If you were a financial superhero, what would your costume be?
A Superman dress with rupees emblem in the middle, I think, something like that. Yeah, something something like that.
Good one, good one. So they are not giving you the 1% share, yeah? So this is a common question. If you could instantly acquire a new language, which one would that be?
Instantly?
If you instantly acquire a new language, which one would it be? One word, quickly?
Hindi.
Hindi? Wow, so you don't know Hindi. Nimisha?
For me too, it is Hindi actually.
For me, Tamil, I think.
Wow. Good one. Last one, I'm sure you're going to lose this, but I'm going to be happy if I get. What's the share price of Radiant Group today?
Sorry?
What's the share price of Radiant Group today? So you got that 1% from all. No Radiant employees.
I know it got IPO'd this year, so I don't know the price.
Good, so we won that. So to wrap up this round of very exciting journeys of these 3 startups, I just wanted all the audience to have some takeaways as we sort of traverse through the day in our life. It's so important that one needs to be profitable to stay in business. That's something that we all understood. From day one, it should be profitable. Bootstrap mentality for startups is a must. Don't you all agree with me?
Yep.
So it's a must. Shareholding. So please be very particular about parting with your shares, even if it's 1%, and that's why I brought this 1% game. So be very, very sticky about what you're going to give away to your VCs. So please be aware about that. And these are questions from our patron, Colonel David, but I wanted to have this as a wrap-up because these are things that I wish everyone did and to be as successful as what the entire, group is today. So look at Pat at least a minimum of 14%. Don't go for the beta. So that's another lesson that one needs to know. Co-founders should have a CFO mentality. And I'm sure all of you have that. Even if you didn't, Moinak, you told me that you were put through a rigor of training in your incubator where you got to learn. So that's so important. So all of us should know finance, never leave it to somebody, and you should know, you should be in control of that. VC funds help to scale and one should reach out appropriately. You know what the trouble is, Surya. Pick up the business and cover the ground. So everybody can't be 100% full with what they're doing, but when you know there's a mistake, cover the course and really cover the ground as well. So one of the product that you spoke about, you knew it didn't work well, Moinak, and then you sort of course corrected. So all of us would have that journey. So with that, I come to an end of this session. A big round of applause for these startups and wishing them all the very best.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Priya, and to all of our panelists. If you could remain on stage for a moment longer, I'd like to invite Rahul Chawla to please join us to present a token of appreciation to all of our guests. If you would please, sir.